on chords and inversions and how you can use them in a lot of different styles of music. So we're going to be talking today about some of the basic things that you use to make up chords and how you can use them in music. So the first thing we need to talk about is a scale. And a scale is just a group of 7 unique notes that fit together. In European music, they're whole steps and half steps away. So take a look at this. We're going to be talking about a C scale today. C scale is a major scale. There are also minor scales, but we're not going to worry about that right now. It's a totally different lesson. So take a look at this C scale. So C starts here at the beginning of 2 black keys, and it's just C, D, E, F, G, A, B. Those are your 7 unique notes, and it ends on the next highest C. So each note in this scale can be major or minor, but each one is the starting point for a chord. A chord is 3 notes that together make up harmonies. Usually it's 3. It can be more, it can be less, but they're built out of what we like to call thirds. Thirds are just from the first note to the third note. They look like skips on a keyboard. So every chord is built up in thirds from its lowest note. And this is a C chord. A chord starts with the note that it's named after, and then you add 1/3 and then another to create your basic chord. The note it starts on is called a root. C is the root. And since we're in the key of C, because that was the scale that we played, C is the first note in the scale. So it's also considered a 1 chord. So today we're going to use chords in the C scale to create a common progression. Chord progressions are just groups of chords that are played one after another. Usually they aren't all in what we call root position, so they wouldn't all look like this. Instead, we rearrange the notes so that they're closer together and your hand doesn't have to move as far to get there. It's the same notes, they're just in a different order. Usually a chord progression includes notes that are part of the same scale, but they don't always have to be. Our progression today is going to be made up of chords that I played at the beginning of the video. So let's break it down. A C chord is the one we already learned. It starts on C. So we'll play C, and then we'll go up 1/3. That's going to be E. Then we go up another third. That's G. So a C chord includes those 3 notes. Now they can be played in any order. C, E, G. Take the C and move it up. So we start on E, G, then we've got C on top, or take the E and move it up. So we've got G, C, E. These are all still C chords. It's just a different order. All right, so that's our 1 chord. And then in a lot of pop music, you're going to hear a 4 chord built off the 4th note in the scale, or a 5 chord built off the 5th note in a scale. So let's figure out what the 4 chord is first. So we have C, D, E, F. F is the 4th note, so that's our root for the 4 chord. Then we have to go up in skips. F, 2, 3. So this is A, 2, 3, and C. But you might be thinking, wait a minute, C is in a C chord. That's right, but since it's all part of the same scale, C is sometimes found in other chords. It just isn't the root. In this case, it's the 5th note above F in an F chord. So we have F, A, C. Of course, we can play an F chord in different orders. A, C, F, or I'll come down here so you can see it. Instead of A, C, F, or we took F from the bottom and moved it to the top, we can move A up again. So we have C, then F, A. So that's inversions. Now, if I started off with a C chord, C, E, G, and I wanted to play F next, I could go all the way up to F and build the chord, or since they share a C, maybe I'll keep C at the bottom as my lowest note. So I've got F, A, C. So you go from C, starting with its root, to an F chord, but this time we put C at the bottom. F is still the root, but it's an F chord over C. So that's how you can use an inversion to get from one chord to another more easily. All right, in pop music again, the next chord you would see is either a five chord, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, starting on G, or a 6 chord. Now, anytime you have a major key, the 6th note in the scale is the beginning of what we would call a minor chord. Listen to the difference. This is a minor chord, and this would be this major chord with the same root of A. So a minor chord always sounds a little bit darker, sometimes people say they're less happy, but that's all very dependent upon your mood. The difference is that the first two notes, they're still a skip apart, but look how many little tiny half steps are between them. We just have 1, 2, and then our skip. In a minor chord, there are only 2 half steps between notes, the first 2 notes. In a major chord, there are 3 half steps between those 2 notes. That's the difference. So, the 6th note in the scale is A. It is the root of an A minor chord. A, here's our first third, here's our second third. So again, that's pretty far away from C. It's a little bit closer to F when we played in root position, but there's a really easy way to get there. If you were playing your C chord, C, E, G, and then your inverted F chord, F over C, take a look at this. I'm going to hold this with my left hand so you can see it. An A minor chord has A, C, and E in it. The F chord has A and C. It shares 2 notes. F is the only one it doesn't share, so you just move to E. A, C, E, A, C, E. So that's another inversion. So we've got 3 chords in our progression now. We have a root position C major chord, an F chord over C, and an A minor chord, still over C. All right, so now we are going to go to that 5 chord, the other popular chord in most popular music. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That means that G is the root of our 5 chord in the key of C, and we build it up in skips. G, A, B, C, D. So again, this is pretty far away. We played our C chord, our F over C, our A minor over C. We have 2 options to get to our G chord. I'm going to hold it with my left hand again. Now our G chord is G, B, D. That's not shared between any of the notes in our A minor chord that we're coming from. We have a C, an E, and an A. But did you notice? Everything is just 1 note away. G, B, D. That's our G chord. It's a G over B. So we're going from our A minor over C, and every note moves 1 step down to create a G major over B. It's still our G chord, G, B, D. It's just in a different order. G, B, D. All right, so we have our progression. C, F over C, A minor over C, and G over B. What I'm going to show you next is how you can turn this into a nice song or an accompaniment. We're going to use our left hand, and we're going to play one note at a time. C, E, G, E. Then we're going to go to F over C. C, F, A, F. Then our A minor over C. C, E, A, E. And then our G over B. B, D, G, D. Or you can do whatever you want. Maybe make it slower. And just play it with both hands. Or your left hand plays the inversions and your right hand plays root position. There are a lot of things to play around with in this particular lesson, so I encourage you to see what it sounds like if you drop a note in the chord and just play two of them, or if you play single notes with one hand and chords in the other. There are endless opportunities for creative ideas and inspiration. So I hope that this is helpful to you. You can check out the PDF below for some of the terms, definitions, and a visual breakdown of what you've been learning today. And I encourage you to practice this throughout your week, implement it into what you're already playing or different rehearsal and performance settings that you might be in, and see how it helps and might improve or change some of your skills.